Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this session on everything you need to know on Biofemme's ingredients and how about Biofemme and what is the purpose of Biofemme. My name is Manon Pilon, and today I'm very excited to do this presentation. We will have an overview, like another opportunity in order to, let me just make sure that you're all in. Let me just do this. Okay. I can do this. All right, there we go. So, so the superpower of some of the ingredients in Biofemme. So I'm really happy to share that with you. So this class is sponsored by Derme & Co. Everything you need to know about our products. Of course, we distribute and manufacture Nelly de Vust, Druid Biolove, Druid Products Alaska, as well as Europlab in our private label division. And our sponsor today, of course, is Nelly de Vust. And so we're going to talk about women's wellness. Of course, you all know that this kind of category reaches all of us. And it starts with my story always is, you know, my mother had some yeast infection with repetition. And of course, when at my, teenage time, I started to have yeast infection repetitively, even younger. And she would take me to her gynecologist, and her gynecologist, my gynecologist still today, says, it's normal, Manon. Your mother is like this, and this is part of your gene. So for you to have continuous yeast infection, it's just a normal thing. You have to get used to it. And back in the days, of course, it was, prescription. So every time I would wear tight pants, in my case, it was jeans. Right away, I had to see the doctor for a prescription in order, to have an antiviral drug given to me. So when my daughter at a young age, at age 8, was hospitalized for 3 days the second time, I thought, no, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to let this happen to my child. Like, I can't believe we've not evolved. So I went to the Children's Hospital here in Montreal, and I asked for the gynecologist in chief. She was hospitalized for severe yeast infection. And so I said, can you please explain to me? And I had brought her underwear, and it was funny enough, in her underwear, there was like bleach at the bottom of the underwear. It looked like I used a brush and bleached the bottom of her underwear. So I cleaned them and I brought it, and you can see that whitening, that white, on a purple underwear was like not normal. So I said, can you explain this? And can you explain what's happening with my daughter? Is it going to mean that every time she has a yeast infection, I have to go to a pharmacy? Today it's a pharmacy, you get an OTC product and chemical products. I mean, I really don't want her to go through what I've been through. So they said, you know what, we don't have answers. This is back in the days. Now today she's 19 years old. And so, the time has flew, but really Biofemme started like this. So my mother passed from Alzheimer's, and you would be amazed to see that the importance of the pH of the vaginal flora is key to our wellness in women's wellness. So I'm going to explain, but it all started there with my own daughter, and I wanted to find a solution. And thanks to my our research and development team and some universities that collaborate in order to find answers to my question. So of course, we know that the Biofemme products will be specifically for the outer organs. We're talking about the genital, not internal. So it's not going inside, we're going external genital order. So when we talk about cosmetic today, OTC for yeast infection or any types of products, we're really looking at the external organs. So of course the pH now. So we all know that pH paper exists, but we need to find the right pH, vaginal pH, and understand the pH and where should it sit. But we know that the symbiosis between the bacteria and the yeast is necessary for us to be healthy in order to protect us. So the microbiota is there to protect us. The same way as it would protect your skin, the skin flora, the same way the vaginal flora will also protect us. And because of our genes, because of our, genetic material, mother and father heritage, we do have certain microbes, so microbiomes, so certain bacteria that, or Candida albicans in this case, when we talk about vaginal flora, that have a higher count versus another. In my book on anti-aging, the cure, if you read it, the bilious, the green square, will be more prone or more predisposed or have a higher count of Candida albicans versus any other body types. The second one, the higher up, would also be the yellow rectangular, the nervous body type. So it's kind of nice to know that there's a correlation with, of course, your genetic heritage and, of course, the constitution of our microbiomes. But keep in mind that in order, they have to live between the bacteria, the yeast, they have to live healthy within our cells. And that's what creates that microflora that we call microbiota. So each individual is, different. So what we need to know is that there is many pH paper out there. So what we want to make sure you acquire is a pH that is specifically for the gynecology analysis. So you want to measure the pH of the vaginal flora or microbiota within a certain range. So starting between 3.6 to 6.1 is ideal. Or if you find there's others in the trade that starts at 2, pH 2, all the way to 7, and that's fine. But you can't have the long range 0 to 14 like we're used to, and the litmus paper that we normally find everywhere. So you have to have a more narrow band so that you can really measure the proliferation of the bacteria that you're going to see in a minute. So we know that healthy pH, and this is our study, and we're very proud to say that we were behind that study that discovered that the healthy pH, women's vaginal pH, should be between 3.8 and 4.1. The literature says that it's 4.5 healthy vaginal pH. So you'll see a lot more since we came out with this line and the zone control and understanding with the Biofemme, that we've created a lot of awareness. So 3.7 to 4.1 is normal. It's usually rare that you're at 3.7, it would be like 3.8. And then when you reach 4.1, like really at the borderline, 4.2 to 4.5 and over, you have the transformation. So we all have yeast. But what happens is the yeast becomes fungi, and that fungi is pathogenic. And when it becomes pathogenic, it proliferates. That means it multiplies and causes damage. And we're going to see about what kind of damage they cause. So in the ecosystem, we said bacteria we find mostly, like the ones we're known or very familiar with, is the Lactobacilli Bacteria. And that bacteria, as a matter of fact, when we age, especially at menopause, it starts to decline. Unfortunately, because of the lack of estrogen, we don't produce as much Lactobacilli bacteria, which is also there to keep the ecosystem balanced. And unfortunately, we have a growth of two kinds of the yeast. And the yeast is the Candida albicans. So there's yeast that will remain healthy, balanced, in symbiosis with your bacteria at 3.8 to 4.1. And then there's yeast that becomes mold. So literally it's mold. So it's like a mycelial, they grow some mycel. It's a little bit like I look at it as fruits that you leave in the fridge. Let's take raspberries, a good example. You leave them in the fridge for 1 week and you see all the fungi, those little almost look like spider web growing. This is the same thing that happens within the Candida albicans. So that yeast that we all have becomes mold, and that's what you want to prevent. So that is bad. And of course, there's many, many reasons why the yeast becomes mold. And one of the factors is the sugar. So if you eat a lot more sweet because you're nervous, you're stressed, and you eat more sweet, more likely you are to develop yeast infection or candidosis. If the temperature 37 degrees and over means if you're hot and humid in that area, if there's friction, you know that you may develop more of the yeast. But there's the worst thing we want to know is that the Candida albicans, when it's yeast, when it's mold, it actually produces up to 72 byproducts. But the worst is the one that are toxic for our body. And we're looking at acetaldehyde. We're looking at ammonia. The answer for my child, for my daughter's bleached in her underwear, was the ammonia that the Candida albicans, when it became mold, it was in a higher pH. It was producing ammonia, bleach. And that's how she bleached. And we're all made differently. We may develop a lot of Candida albicans without bleaching our underwear. Her constitution was a lot more of the ammonia creation than acetaldehyde. But acetaldehyde, for example, may cause you gas. You know, you feel bloated all the time and you think it's your diet, but often it is related or due to the Candida albicans. So it's when it turns into mold, of course, always think of the bad thing as the mold. You don't want it to become mold. And so it's kind of nice gas, you know, feeling uncomfortable. You always have gas and you wonder, you know, maybe it's you have inflammatory bowel syndrome. Well, in the colon is where we find the Candida albicans growth. So of course, if you have a lot more mold Candida albicans that turned into mold, then for sure you will have more gas because they do produce gas and you can't control that. But the symptoms that will really unbalance your pH is, of course, antibiotic and medication. That destroys our healthy, you know, symbiosis of microbiomes, meaning your microbiomes and therefore your microbiota. So it unbalances our pH. Stress, who is not stressed in these days? Diet, of course, based on sugar, tight clothing, G-strings, you know, everybody loved to have that tight. In my case, just jeans. Just the jeans would cause instantly that same day yeast infection. So I didn't have a nice lifestyle. All my friends had jeans, but I couldn't wear it because of that growth of mold. Right away it turns into mold. Why? Because I had a higher count. Chlorines, you know, you go in your swimming pool or a spa. Fragrance, you know, people use douche thinking, oh, it's going to be clean and healthy. You know, before they go see a gynecologist, they use a douche. Well, the reality is the douche can actually damage your microbiota. So we don't want to stay away from anything that's scented. Soap, bar soap, the pH is too high. Wet towels that have fragrance, sanitary napkins, scented wipes. You know, we think we want to be clean all the time, so we use it. We destroy the pH. Intimate spray and detergents. You know, certain detergent will affect people that are extremely sensitive, like my case. Bath, if I take a bubble bath the same day I have a yeast infection, it's automatic. So if it's made, of course, like Nelly DeVos has, you know, bath oils, like a relaxing bath, I will not develop yeast because of the oils and the pure cold press. It's more like a therapy rather than a bubble bath just for the scent where it's full of sulfate. So sulfate equals damaging your microbiota, your vaginal flora, your pH. Synthetic material, myself, if I don't have cotton, 100% cotton underwear, it's a guaranteed, you know, yeast infection. So all these fancy underwear I cannot wear, even though I buy them, I cannot wear because I know I'm going to have a yeast infection. Never learn. Sanitary napkins and tampons left too long, of course, can cause yeast infection. We said soap. Friction, if you're on the bike, you are doing exercise, anything that causes friction and humidity or heat will develop. Another good example is you see the elderly people staying on beds. They develop wounds, and wounds are often related to the Candida albicans. Just because they sweat, they often have a plastic cover. In case of urinary, my God, when you have a leak, let's say, intolerance. Oh my God, I have a blank. If you simply have just any forms of humidity, just keep in mind that is definitely a side that the yeast can turn into mold. So it's good to know, so that if you know someone that's stuck on a bed and you see those wounds, it'll look like a wound, red, like eczema site. Most likely it is yeast related. By using just the zone control for a couple of days, it's gone, completely gone. I'm not talking about venous ulcer. I'm just talking about incontinence is what I was looking for earlier. My apologies. But humidities, you want to stay away from them. And of course, stress. Everybody's stressed, so that may trigger it a lot more. And there's food that we should avoid. Generally speaking, if you just remember that, you know, sugar or processed food is to be avoided, then you're on the right path. But these lists are always available, you know, for us to share. Just write to us at info@dermco.com. And food to eat, of course, is all colored vegetable. If you keep that in mind, then we're on the right path. And increase hydration. Often you find the younger ones, they don't drink enough water. So 1.5 liters per day will prevent yeast to form. So if you have reoccurring yeast infection, maybe it's just caused by dehydration. So pay attention to it, and of course we have to address it. And which product to choose today for women's wellness? There's so much choices. You know, we have long aisles of products that are offered, and you know, so much choices, different scents. But our role is to really look at what are the different chemicals and what impact that it will do on the human, on long term, the cumulative impact. Do we do that effort? It's quite shocking to see that a lot of products have either silicones or parabens, or they have perfume, and it's not, you know, healthy. It maybe say pH, but there's nothing to balance the pH. So we have to do our own due diligence and make our own research. So this is where we're proud to say that with Femme, here's a full 10 product line for women's wellness. So we're looking at a cleanser. That famous zone control is going to be used only for 1 or 3 days. You don't use that all the time if you have a predisposition of candidosis or yeast infection. You're just going to use it to destroy the pathogenic growth. And then you go back on your prebiotics. We have moisturizer for them there for this delicate zone. And we need to feed the good bacteria in order to be healthy and to be moisture. And then we have firming products, and we have products for ingrown hair. We have 2 products for ingrown hair, and also for people that build up bumps after they either shave or wax, and a lubricant. And we have a regenerating serum for the super dry skin. So all the beauty with this line is it's all certified by EcoSearch. You see this symbol here means that the product formulation, the packaging have been completely certified by EcoSearch. We have a license. So 2 times a year they come and audit each and every production. And that's a very big plus and safety for consumer. They know that every ingredient is organic, truly organic. Because a lot of people claim that their products are organic, but when you really look into the formulation, there's nothing organic or less than 1%. So it's a safety to know that the product has been undergoing, you know, a rigorous testing in order to justify that, yes, it is organic and where's the source of all these ingredients. The packaging is recyclable, and the label, we're even using vegetable ink. A total safe product for all age. Doesn't matter what age the individual is. You know, my daughter, it started with this one product. I mean, this is how this whole line started. This one product should have called Sarah's gel or product, as it's now called today, zone control. This is how it started. But you know, you have you want to get rid, or you want to really make sure that if anything you remember today is to balance the pH and make sure it's always balanced. Now, if we look at ingredients and really turnkey ingredients, I'm going to summarize into what we use in the entire line. For example, in the foaming cleanser. A foaming cleanser you want to use every day when you take your shower or when you take your bath. Once a day is enough. But if you're predisposed to candidosis, you want to use that for sure. If you're not, you don't have to, but it's always a great hygiene. In this product, you have essential oil of tea tree in a high dosage, aloe vera, cocoa glucide, because we don't use sulfate. So it's another form, mineral stone powder, and arginine that we're going to discuss. If you look at the tea tree oil, of course, that's the antibacterial and antifungal activity that we want in order to be balanced into a fresh, well-balanced, non-sulfate cleanser. And of course, we use the diadermic methodology for all the products. So this is the technology. So it's the ingredients key. Of course, the percentage is key. The synergy, how they're actually integrate with one another, and also the technology that transform them in order to achieve what we're trying to achieve. In this case, we're trying to cleanse, right? So we remain as a cleanser. All the product, the 9 products contains aloe vera. So the aloe vera is key because we want to soothe, and because it's a delicate zone, we want to reconstitute 100% pure aloe vera, part of our formulation. The cocoa glucoside is basically, the origin is really coconut and sugar. So it's like a combination of both that create a sulfactant. So that creates an opportunity for the product to foam and to cleanse. We have a small amount of stone powder, which is a mineral byproduct. It's really astringent. It also has the benefit of cleansing and purifying. And also arginine, which really is a pH balancing, but at the same time is a great microstimulant ingredient. And when combined together with essential oils, it makes a very big difference. In fruit extract, we use the apricot. So we have a combination of fruit extract, and that mainly is antioxidants. Of course, it's emollient, it's nourishing, it's hydrating. We use orange, also citrus, zest extract. So that gives that antiseptic effect and also deodorize. Not all yeast infection, when the yeast turns into mold, sometimes it will create a smell and sometimes it will create not a smell. So it's not because you don't have a smell that maybe you're healthy. It doesn't always, we're all differently made. And of course, depending on our microbiota, it will vary. But this will help to calm that bad smell. Also, grapefruit is an antioxidant. We also have rosewood, which is great. It has a lot of antioxidant property as well. And the lime, that's from the bark extract, just a zest of the lime. And vanilla planifolia, a fruit extract, again, is necessary part of this formulation. So all these ingredients are mixed. And in this case, of course, we're using it as a cleanser. Now, if we want to talk about pH, that means if your pH is off, that means you're not well, you have mold. At 4.2 and over, you have mold. So if it's 4.2, 1 day of the zone control is enough. But if you have 4.5 and over, then for sure you need the 3 consecutive days. So the way we use the zone control, it had to be easy for my daughter. So I like the idea of pump and wipe, because when I brought it the first time, zone control was in a jar. And just the fact that it's another step to do down there, it had to be easy. So you use a tissue or gauze. Gauze is softer, but tissue works. And you pump 1 or 2 pumps, depending. If you have a severe infection, I recommend to do 2 pumps. And just before, so you cleanse, you go in your shower, and before you go to bed, you leave the zone control by your bed. And do it 3 consecutive nights. Ideally, if you can redo it in the morning, meaning twice a day, that would be ultimate. If not, it's okay. It's going to be as effective if you do it 3 days in a row. No sexual activity. And of course, just cleansing. No other products are to be used in that zone for that time in order to destroy the proliferation of the proliferation of the Candida albicans that became mold. What do we find in this product? Of course, aloe vera that you saw earlier. Hawthorn smells. So the only one product that we have that doesn't smell too good, but it's okay because we are only going to use it for 1 or 2 days, 3 days max. So it's not forever. It's because you have a problem, is the zone control. So zone control doesn't have a nice smell, and it's caused by the hawthorn extract. So we have natural minerals. We also have propandiol, which create the gel to hold everything together, the sodium citrate, and the willow bark extract to keep the acidity. So hawthorn is key into our treatment. So we want to really have a soothing effect, but at the same time become subtle, because the Candida albicans are smart. So we don't want it to be aggressive, and then right away they will multiply in order to defend itself. So it's a very soothing extract that is used specifically for this purpose. It's antimicrobial. It's it's preventing the proliferation of bacteria as well as the mold component. We use natural propandiol. That's really just the oil substance. We use sodium citrate and the willow bark extract. The willow bark is key because it brings back the acidity as well. So it's all again into the formulation, and you use that just for 3 days. Doesn't smell good, but By the way, we've received so many comments of people that had a bad smell, like a fishy smell of candidosis. And they said as soon as they apply the product, only one time, smell is gone instantly, and it smells fresh. So people's like, it's worth it because in seconds I don't have that bad smell of the author, natural author, and it kills 99.99% of all forms of Candida albicans. You have an immediate effect. Up to 270,000 Candida albicans will be destroyed, and that's into our study. We want to bring it back to a 3.8 to 4.1. So if we look at the regimen, it's simple. If you're 4.2 and lower, it's 4.2 is borderline. It's one too many, right? So we want to use it for 1 day only, morning and night. So you cleanse and you do this zone control morning and night. But again, you will still have results if you use it only once a day. It's fine. Then if you have higher than a pH 4.2, you need 3 days. 3 consecutive days, 1 application is enough. Super effective morning and night, if you can. But after, your pH is completely off now. You've completely destroyed the Candida, but we said earlier that part of the microbiota, healthy microbiota, we need the yeast. Healthy yeast, not mold. So in order to rebuild that yeast and rebuild the balance of the pH, we need to use the balancing gel or the soothing gel. So those are 2 pH balancing solution. If you're young, 1 week after, it's fine. If you go into a jacuzzi or a chlorinated pool, 1 week after of this pH gels, it's fine. It's going to be rebalanced right away. But otherwise, if you're 50 and over, at 51, according to some science, menopause or perimenopause, then you definitely need it on a daily basis. Those 2, not the zone control, these 2 only. One or the other, of course, they both have the same function. One, it's to balance the pH, to feed with the good bacteria, the Lactobacilli Bacteria, in order to be able to keep you moisture and balance as your pH. Of course, menopause usually occurs at age 51, but you can be in perimenopause and be very dry. One of the main symptoms is vaginal atrophy and dryness. This is why you see a lot more gynecologists or aesthetic physician offering more of the skin tightening, vaginal skin tightening. And of course, for the dryness, we finally have a solution. So the Biofemme prebiotic is our treatment for moisture for menopaused women. So yes, they need their serum and their treatment cream and their oil for their face, and they need 1 product every day down there. So the prebiotics is found again in the pH balancing gel and pH soothing gel. They're both pH. Just look for the pH on the bottle. And if you're young, one week is enough. Again, you don't need to use that because you normally have a healthy microbiota. It's not normal if it's not healthy. So it really is great because it's based on chicory extract, and we're going to see this in a few seconds. So what do we find in the product? So aloe vera, lactic acid, chicory extract, that's our prebiotic, and oligosaccharides alpha gluten, which is a prebiotic as well. The combination of 2 is key. So the chicory extract, we use the chicory, but from the roots. So literally what's in the earth, not just the flower. But that's what the chicory looks like. So it's a flower, but it's really the roots. That's what we take. And it's amazing prebiotic. And alpha-glucan oligosaccharides, that's also very rich in mineral, trace elements, rich in trace elements, and key in order to balance the pH. In the pH soothing gel, this one has a little bit more. If you're, let's say, 35, 40 years old and older, you need a little bit more. Why? Because our fibroblast activity does not produce as much collagen. We are lacking of hydration with the hyaluronic acid. We want something more soft. So the women that are feeling a little bit uncomfort, they have extreme sensitivity, their moisturizer will be the pH soothing gel. So it's the same as this one, pH balancing gel, except this one is really having soothing ingredients. And you'll see this. Besides aloe vera, we have chamomile. chamomile extract, hyaluronic acid. We want to plump the skin so that it doesn't cause irritation during sexual activities and menopause, in cases of menopause. Pullulan, that's really a polysaccharide. Baobab extract, which is from a sacred tree, and it's really an anti-aging property. Chicory, again, and oligosaccharide. The chicory is your prebiotic. So chamomile has anti-inflammatory and soothing effect in this product. So if you have, uncomfort down there, then you're better off with the soothing pH balancing gel every day. Hyaluronic acid at 2 different molecular weight in order to give you that extra softness and plumpness on the outer side and the inner side of the labia minora and majora. We also have the polysaccharides. It's a polymer, pullulan, extracted from a sugar. So this is your daily moisturizing treatment. And then if you want firming, okay, so because of menopause, we're starting to have a little bit of lack of firmness, lack of your skin tissue becomes soft, smooth, sagging, and especially the labia majora. So for this, we have a firming toner, and this you could use no matter what at any time. You come out of the shower, you want to rebalance the skin just on the outer labia majora. It keeps the skin tight. So it's quite an amazing product. So firming toner, what do we have? We have aloe vera, we have mineral stone powder, we have arginine, we have willow bark extract, we also have amamelis extract and baobab extract. So again, the same ingredients we saw before. The only thing is you have salicylic acid in a little higher dosage in this case, and amamelis to soothe and calm the skin, and baobab to give that firmness on the skin. So it's a pH toner you could use no matter who you are at all time on the labia majora, on the outer lips. But if you want to work on the inner lips, you need to have a pH that is balanced. In other words, you're going to start treating pH balancing of the inner lips, that means the labia minora, differently only if your pH is balanced. That means you cannot treat your labia minora, the small lip, if you don't have a pH of 3.8 to 4.1. Why? It's a little bit like acne. When you have acne, you develop acne, and a client or anyone comes and tells you, I would like to have anti-wrinkle products. Well, it doesn't make sense. You first have to get rid of the acne, and then you treat the wrinkles. So we shouldn't, mix. So if you have the pH that is off, do a zone control for 1 to 3 days, and then you can start your firming care. pH toner, of course, your cleanser, your foaming cleanser, your toner, firming toner, and your firming gel on the labia minora and labia majora. Just remember that your pH has to be healthy, balanced, 3.8 to 4.1 before you move into that segment. And the firming gel, we have the aloe vera, we have the red algae, which is rich in carrageenan. And with the University of Montreal, they have found that this seaweed is very, very remarkable results. And clinical studies demonstrated that you can actually have so much results with any forms of a virus. So antiviral activity in the microbiota. We're talking about the vaginal flora, but great research with the carrageenan, potassium mineral stone powder, arginine, and polysaccharides is found in this product. So this is the red algae, very, very unique in this product. Again, it's a skin tightening and also antiviral. We're not buying it for the antiviral, we're buying it for the firmness that it's going to create. So if we want to look at the prevention or rejuvenation, or if you are undergoing a rejuvenation treatment with an aesthetic doctor or gynecologist with either radiofrequency or CO2 fractional, CO2 or erbium, then it's a great combination to 3 weeks after to start your treatment of firming care to maintain the results. But if you don't want to undergo vaginal using vaginal devices. Then, of course, just the product, but start early, you know, as early as 40 years of age or 35 years of age, just to keep the skin tight. So you work with a cleansing foam for all, the same thing as usual. And then you have a choice, either the soothing or balancing pH gel. So we said soothing if you want to hydrate, if you're menopause or 40 plus. And then firming toner every day after you finish out of your shower. And then you put your firming gel. It's a pump on a tissue and wipe. And I have to tell you that we're so excited that the entire line is going to be soon available in travel size. So we're going to have this year, this year, or you can ask about when it's coming, the travel size. So it allows the people to, to try it. So if you have menopause, more likely you might have some dryness that goes with that. That's due to the lack of estrogen. And for that, we have an amazing product called Regenerating Serum. The Regenerating Serum is a product that is made out of evening primrose. And we know the evening primrose, they kind of blossom at night, during the night. We call them the night flowers, but it's from the seed. It's triple extraction. It's quite of a process to do this extraction. And of course, they're moisturizer. And the key element is that they will synthesize the prostaglandin, which usually with age does not function as well. So you have a lot of dryness, and you have scaly skin on the lower legs, or your overall body feels dry. So you can apply this oil either, within the inner part, the labia minora or labia majora, even though we're working on external organs. Let me rephrase that. And at the same time, you can put it on the skin of the legs, of the face, or any parts of the body. It's an amazing treatment for menopausal skin. So the regenerating serums, what do we find? Evening primrose oil. We have tea tree. We want to keep away the bacteria, keep a good balance. We have pine essential oil. We have palmarosa essential oil. We have geranium. We have thyme and vitamin E. So this is what makes this product so effective. We have some gynecologists in the United States that publish that this is the only product that is available for women with issues of dryness. And it's so, healthy. Again, certified by EcoSearch. You're using with the finest oils, pure cold press oils that are offered in this product. Amazing, amazing effect. So it's the evening primrose is also antibacterial, has a calming, of course, soothing effect and the moisturizing effect. Where the pine essential oil also have a lot of effect as calming, soothing, regenerating. It's an emollient. It has an anti-infectious, all forms of antiseptic essential activity. Hypoallergenic. It's a vasoconstrictor. So it's also another component that makes this product so unique. The palmarosa essential oil is also key for antibacterial and antifungal activities. So you can feel safe and not having any types of issue to use it, even if your pH is naturally functioning well. You don't have to have dryness. You can use it just to feel better. So that's a great product, and it's very delicate. Geranium essential oil is also soothing. It's antimicrobial as well. It's great to improve the immunity of the skin, and it's good for all skin type. The thyme essential oils, it's more like, again, it's more antiseptic. It's a thymol that's part of it that makes such a difference. So again, depending on the formulation and the percentage, it will have really an aseptic antibacterial activity. And vitamin E, also great regenerator. Now, if we move on, our last category of our product line is the hair removal. There's two products for ingrown hair, really. We have the first one called Soothing Mask. Soothing Mask you can use while you're shaving. People that develop bumps after shaving or after waxing or after laser treatment or IPL, they will love this treatment post-care. So it vasoconstrict, very luxurious spa will charge an extra $25 to use this mask to have that cooling effect and really vasoconstrict, so it prevents ingrown hair. It prevents the bumps to occur after any forms of depilatory system. And what do we find in this formulation? Of course, the aloe vera, the green tea extract, the chamomile, whoops, the chamomile, the calendula extract, the kaolin, the mineral stone powder, silica, red seaweed, algae, essential oil of spearmint and peppermint, as well as essential oil of fennel, sorry. So green tea extract, antioxidants. It's really astringent and so calming, so soothing. You know, even men after shaving, they feel it's so soothing to do this treatment mask. Even though it says Biofemme, it's so calming. It prevents ingrown hair, even after any forms of depilation, including the shaving. I shave with it, so it eliminates all this, you know, fire that you have in the skin. If you do laser, sometimes, you know, post laser, your skin is a little traumatized. So to calm it down. The same thing with the calendula, is really an antioxidant as well as an astringent. Kaolin is really more for the absorption and for the ingredients to remain more on the upper layers of the skin. The same thing with the silica combined, it helps to create a barrier that it stimulates the fibroblast activity. Great, it also helps to tone the skin. The spearmint and peppermint essential oil, they're soothing, but at the same time, they're stimulating. So it's quite refreshing. You feel cool. You have that cool vasoconstrictive effect, which is necessary after all forms of depilation. So it's a great takeaway home. You should be selling that after waxing or after laser, because it makes the client feel so much better, especially if they're not going to do any compresses of cold water. Fennel is antibacterial as well as calming for the skin. Then the next product, the last one in this category, is the ingrown hair product. So if you are having a tendency to develop ingrown hair, this is the key. 95% of hair that goes into the skin, ingrown or folliculitis, they are often caused by either a lack of hygiene or because the area, if it's waxed or lasered, was not vasoconstricted afterwards. So this, let me just take an example. Oh, here. So what we want to do in this case of a hair growing inside the skin, we want to control the papilla, which is what's been supplying the food and nutrition at the anagen phase when the hair is actually attached to the bulb. So that's our objective. So because of the hair growth cycle, we don't know, you know, at which cycle they are. Ideally, if they could be at the anagen phase, this way, you know for sure you'll have results, because it's going to make the hair so fine and less powerful that it's not going to be strong enough to roll inside the skin and cause an infection. That's what the key product is. And of course, the catagen phase, it's when the hair is almost semi-detached, and telogen, it's dead. So basically, if you're applying it at the telogen phase, you know, it's not going to do anything. So you really need to know which phase. Therefore, if you use it from the day post waxing or the day post laser or post shaving even, on a daily base, you will prevent the ingrown hair to occur. So if we go back, this is what it looks. It comes with the dropper, and you apply it right after the depilation. And what does it have? It has the Brassica nupus oil. It has the tea tree oil. It has vitamin E, thyme, sage, lavender. It also has bardiane essential oil as well as magnolia essential oil. So the tiger nut is the most important one. It's called the Cyperus esculentus. The tiger nut oil, it's the name. It's a very specific oil, and when combined with the right ingredients, it will target that bulb in order to make it weaker. So when it grows, it doesn't have that strength, and that's very key. And it's found in Madagascar, in the African continent. So we talked about the hair cycle. We also have the Brassica nupus oil that's, allowing the penetration of those essential oils in order to get the results. We have clary sage essential oil that will be very rich in antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity, and it's a tonic. It's a venous tonic, so it vasoconstrict, and that's what we want. We want to vasoconstrict the area that we just did a depilation, and it has an antibacterial power. Lavender is more soothing, calms the razor burn, or it's soothing, it's purifying, it's antibacterial, has a lot of benefits. But when combined with the right essential oils and plants into a diadermic methodology with the Nelly the Rose, it makes such a difference. Anise essential oil, this is the famous star anise essential oil. It's really a great antioxidant. It's also antifungal. You want to focus on the antifungal because we don't want to have any growth within the follicle, so that we don't have any forms of pathogenic activity. We don't want the Polysaccharides acne to develop and multiply. So we need that antibacterial prevention, especially for the ones that are predisposed to any forms of folliculitis. And then magnolia, it's great. It purifies, desensitizes the skin. It's really soothing, and it has a great proprietary as well as antibacterial. Last product, Lubiel. Well, Lubiel is a lubricant. Lubricant without the silicones, without the perfume, without what you find in the pharmacies often, and with so much chemicals. Here's something natural, but nevertheless, it's not because it's natural you don't need this one. Lubiel is the only one you want to make sure that you rinse and you cleanse with the cleansing foam, ideally, after usage. So while during sexual activity, that's when it's used. And of course, at menopausal time or perimenopause, if you're super dry, this will change your lifestyle. So it's worth it sometimes to, for the couple, I would say. So it is made out of aloe vera, of course, red algae and stevia extract. Stevia is really antibacterial, it's calming, has sweet taste, and it's great for superficial skin tightening. So we want to make sure that this is always used. This completes our presentation, but I want to say that this brand, we're looking at inside out about wellness. But if there's one thing I want you to remember, is the first two. So keep them in mind that we should cleanse all the time. And if you have your pH is off, meaning 4.2 and over, please help women, because if there's direct link with neurotoxins and endotoxins and neurotoxins, we're working with a study now that they're making a direct link of neurotoxins and Alzheimer's. So for sure, if we can prevent degenerative disease that we find, why is it that women develop more Alzheimer's than men? Did we ever ask ourselves that? So direct link in my book to the Candida albicans. So when it's pathogenic, when it becomes mold. So please look up, and now more studies are coming out with it. We're working with universities, and we want to give the awareness to make sure that even if they don't use Nelly the Rose, to be aware that they should not remain with a pH that is off. So in the resume, if we make a conclusion, firming, we have the firming gel. Really, of course, we have the soothing gel, the soothing mask and the firming toner, but the key product will be the firming gel. Dry regenerating serum, that's the oil, pure cold press oil with evening primrose. Sensitive skin is the pH soothing gel. Ingrown hair, of course, is the ingrown hair complex, it's a serum. And then pH balancing, you want, if you're off, it's the zone control. That one you don't use all the time, 1 to 3 days max. And whenever your pH is off. And of course, if it's repetitive, you have to consult with your gynecologist. It's not normal. Maybe there's something that could be addressed. And of course, the Lubiel for intimate relation. So the product has been featured. If you want to visit nellytheverse.com and Biofemme, the product has been featured in so many magazines. So many people talk about it. So many articles have been, discussing the Biofemme and the benefits, the best practice, post-shaving care, they're just talking about it. In Well Good, why don't you want to have a basic, and you should read the article and how certain gynecologists intervene and they selected the Biofemme as their best product on the market. So we feel very proud. Total Beauty, 7 perfectly pH balanced vaginal cleanser and white. So again, in the fashion spot, so many products that was discussed. so many doctors discuss, and talk about different ingrown hair. Dr. Latif has suggested for specific bumps on the skin, and great articles. And you can find all these articles online under nellydeveuse.com biofemme. There's so many articles out there. Then you can find them all over there. But keep in mind, we want a daily hygiene, we want a pH balancing, and we want to address the menopausal syndromes. We want to address the sensitivity, and we also want to address, due to menopausal symptoms, lack of firmness and ingrown hair. So that concludes my presentation today. I hope you enjoyed it. Derme & Co was the sponsor, but Nelly DeVeuse is behind this presentation. So, of course, everything you need for your skincare. Bioten's the most popular product, 11 products for anti-aging that is fully certified by EcoCert, and very popular is the BioAcne, 6 products to treat acne problems. So very effective, organic certified, and approved by Health Canada and FDA for the claim anti-acne, so effective. BioFemme we talked about, and if you want more information, please visit our YouTube training videos on products, or the YouTube channel on different seminars, different information on rosacea, on understanding acne, and so on. So these are all available. Also Facebook and Instagram. We also have great educator. We're the producer of Alaska hand sanitizers, as well as a surface disinfectant, and Druid Laboratories, so for baby care, as well as Pure and Pure for oncology. Smell good, feel good body care, affordable EcoCert certified products, face care, as well as outdoors, and Karité shea butter, toothpaste, and deodorant that are all certified by EcoCert. We're the largest manufacturer of EcoCert products in North America. And for our equipment division, the IPL, very popular, as well as the Visia, and if you need some of your chairs and so on. And we also have the division of Europlab, which we create a private label for you and for your needs. I want to say a big thank you to all, and I hope you enjoyed this session. And I hope that you will, basically share more. And thank you so much.